Yes, you and your computer are there, but then that computer goes everywhere. So, did you hear the story about the young guy? I think he was about 19. He's in Texas.
Yeah, I heard about it when you told me about it.
I mean, that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah. So, so I guess this guy's in jail now. This happened, I think, in February.
He's been in jail for a while.
Since February, yeah. For not even on League of Legends, but I think it was on a League of Legends forum on Facebook.
Yeah.
Basically making a sarcastic comment in response to somebody else that was like, yeah, I'm mentally insane. I'm gonna shoot up a school and like hold their beating hearts or something. Lol JK.
Lol JK is an important thing to note there.
Yeah.
I mean, you shouldn't joke about something like that because it is a threat. You know? It is kind of fire in a crowded theater.
Yeah, there's no good way to take
But
that.
he got turned in by some random ass woman
in Canada. And this happened in Texas.
And now he's been in jail for how long?
Well,
like
he's in
6
jail,
months.
and the reason why they've held him for so long is they're saying it's like a terrorist threat.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why, I mean, because, look, everything that's come out, this guy's father was on CNN, he does not look like the kind of person, or he's not behaving in the way, let me clarify that you know, would follow through on this. Nor, you know, usually you have to make bail, you know, and then there'll be a trial, but they're actually holding him due to the fact that he's apparently a terrorist.
Yeah, well, they questioned him too. That's what I don't understand. Usually something like this happens, you take somebody in for questioning, then you find out that they have, you know, no history, they're not really, I guess, the kind of person that...
I don't know the guy, I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. I mean, I think this comes down to less an issue of the legality of it, because I'm not that smart to understand that, but it's that weird impulse where when you're interacting with the internet, this happens on Xbox Live and stuff like that, like you're doing it from your own home, and somehow you feel that the ramifications are within your own domicile where you feel safe, but it's out there in like the largest public square that you can possibly imagine, and this is, I mean, this is a unique occurrence, but things like this happen with like far too much frequency.
Especially with younger people, you know, like teenagers and stuff have a habit of putting way too much information on Facebook and Twitter and just throwing stuff out there and thinking that it will never actually come back to bite them in the ass.
I'm just worried because I'm always threatening those teenagers myself.
I know.
You know?
Well, at least you're making the right threats, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I think it's ridiculous. They said the kid was on like suicide watch and solitary confinement.
Yeah, I'd want to kill myself too if I was in jail for talking some shit on a Facebook post.
It sounds Kafkaesque.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you do this thing that you know, was of no consequence, and then you have probably the most dire consequence you could possibly conceive of that you're finding yourself in. I mean, I do worry sometimes that this is indicative, if not of a gaming culture, of kind of a larger internet culture, that when you are so alone and that's your means of communication, like, you know, it's easier for me to insult you, Tara, over the internet. It's for me to do it right here across this table from you.
You'd see this face.
Exactly. Then I feel bad, and then I, you know, buy you like a beer.
There's a very cause and effect thing you see here with comments of really any kind on the internet, where people aren't expecting a reaction. You're so like, if you're sitting there and you're watching the news and you're like, Tom Brokaw, I'm gonna make you eat my shit. Tom Brokaw's not gonna look at you and be like, "Excuse me, son." Like, but and we see this all the time with our comments. Yeah, that's right. We read them. And kids are like, they say some stuff, and I'll be like, "Excuse me," but that's some horse shit, and they'll be like, "Whoa, I didn't know you read them. I didn't know you." And it's like, why'd you write it? That's what it's for.
I do think it's part of like a larger competitive culture. But as somebody who reads a lot of political articles online and occasionally will scroll down to the Facebook comments section of them, I have seen way worse comments that were actually made with a serious intent, or at least something that wasn't quite so sarcastically intended.
No, it's
LOL JK. Like, he add that at the end there. Like, what, did they not have those terrible teenager abbreviations in Canada? Like, who is this woman? How did she ruin this person's life?
An old woman on Facebook would be my guess, who takes everything on Facebook
What brings you on a League of Legends group?
Thank you very much. That's the part of the story that leaves me just so befuddled. How did she get to that corner of the internet? It's the whole thing is kind of odd and strange. It's just so
You go on that website, fatuglyerslutty.com, which is all of the stuff that's sent to female gamers. Remember that? And then like Xbox Live, and it's just like screenshots of these guys saying the most foul, horrible things.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, there you go. You said that. It's like all of those were pretty there's no LOL JK in there. Those are all horrible hate speech. And then it's
I have to wonder if somehow someone's trying to make an example of this kid that, if not anxieties and frustrations kind of with games and gamers, like this guy is in the wrong prosecutor's hands or something like that. But I think it once again gets to this point. I'm not saying that any one gamer should be responsible for the gaming community, but the aggregate presentation of people who play games, be it on Facebook, YouTube, or Xbox Live, is not a community that if I was on the outside of it, I would have any interest in respecting, defending, or trying to uphold the rights of. I mean, it really does come across as kind of noxious and hateful.
I see what you're saying. I do kind of feel like they are probably trying to make an example of him, especially with all the recent news stories about school shootings and stuff. Like, I feel like if something like this had happened 4 or 5 years ago, it wouldn't have gone to the lengths that it did now.
No, and I think, there is that. And I think a legitimate concern when some of these things happen, when someone, like, I can't remember the horrible kid's name who was in the Newton shooting, but then also like Dylan Klebold and Harris, that the way the media kind of starts to hoist them up, it gives other people of a great deal of instability ideas that they too can receive that attention by doing something. It's the same thing with teenage suicides. It's why the press doesn't actually report on them, because there's so much evidence that it will start to precipitate, more occurrences.
It blows my mind that this kid wasn't even trying to make an impact, and he's in that kind of weird martyr situation that the media throws. He literally said, paraphrased, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I'm not that bent out of shape about it. He phrased it in the most horribly misconstruable way as possible.
It's my whole fear, and this is my whole thing of just the internet.
He was speaking in hyperbole,
is that you don't get that essential thing that humans have, which is when they're speaking to one another, you have nuanced tone.
Yes.
That like sarcasm can be immediately, it's really hard. And I think the older you get, the harder it is to kind of parse those kind of meanings. And maybe JK LOL doesn't, resonate as just kidding, laughing out loud. It's just like, ha ha ha. Maybe it's evil person rubbing hands together laugh.
Yeah, probably is.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
Just killing, laughing out loud.
I think I'm sticking to the phone for the next month.
It'll be interesting.
Then only the NSA will hear you, so there you go.